Welcome, everybody, to Quantumsanity. I am Ryan Salaz.
And I am Cedar.
And today we're going to talk about blockages and energies that might be getting in your way of moving you into your energy centers, moving you into your spiritual divine center, things that are holding you back physically, mentally, and spiritually. It's a full moon today. We're letting our hair down today because sometimes you got to let loose. You know, there's so much dogma and control on this planet right now that we want to get back to basics. We want to get back to the stuff that works. And the earth works, breath works, and good community works, and good information works. And right now we're just going to go into what does a energy blockage look like? What does block energy, and how can we remove it? And Cedar has a lot of input on that. Cedar, would you talk to these folks about energy removal and blockages?
Thanks, Brian. So a lot of what people are experiencing as obstacles in their lives in the way of their goals, leading a more peaceful life, a less stressful life, and possibly influencing you by programs that maybe you were indoctrinated in from just how you were raised culturally or kind of like through nurturing. Um, a lot of those blockages are caused by a lot of negative entities. And so negative entities are actually real things in energy and in your energy field. They can be as little or big, depending on how you acquired them. Certain negative patterns and behaviors will cause you to have more larger entities in your energy field. But a lot of times we're always constantly having negative entities, lower vibrational entities knocking at our field, because, you know, as humans, we're social people. Even if you isolate yourself at home and you're working from home remotely, you can still receive negative entities and have negative entity contacts through the content that you consume. So that can be through social media posts, that can be through social media content, perhaps your sources of media entertainment, for example, horror, a lot of really lower vibration kind of entertainment kind of themes, and or also what you read, because it's still content that you're consuming. So when we're working with entities that are negative, their main thing is to feed off of your life force through lower frequency vibrational behavior from yourself. So depression feeds entities. Anxiety feeds entities, hopelessness, worry, stress, despair, regret, guilt. And these are the heavier themes of where negative entities originate and they come from. And as they feed on you, they open up more and more opportunities for you to experience the occurrences in your life that would lead to more guilt, more regret, more despair, more hopelessness, and more stress. And I'm pretty sure you're familiar with those, Ryan.
Yeah.
And so, most of the time, we get into contact with these negative entities in public, sometimes as easy as working with someone that's having a bad day, or maybe being part of a team of some of people that have not the most positive personal lives. Workplace seems to be the most common place, but then during the pandemic, as an energy worker, I noticed that these entities were feeding more and more on social media and through entertainment content, whether it's music or downloadable films or streaming, mostly streaming. Streaming and streamers have really, really, really bad records of entity transmissions. Because if you think about it, a lot of these streamers are literally feeding off of their followers sometimes, especially if they're doing questionable behavior in order to get more likes, follows, comments, and things like that. So I'm going to throw it back to you, Ryan, because you have very, very close, intimate experience with entities that come from negative patterns and behaviors. And so go ahead and share that.
Well, I mean, I think I first started experiencing them at a very young age. With the crowds my parents were around, just the environment of the '80s, drugs, alcohol, violence, and the way I look at it now is like after all these years and understanding energy, like the energy field, it's kind of like I don't know I've been fishing out in like the Sea of Cortez and I've seen like a dead whale, and there's just all this feeding going on off of it, sharks, seagulls, and all kinds of little fish. I mean, that's like your energy field for energies that are on a lower frequency. If you're on a lower frequency, you open up, you become this feeding center, and like they just start attaching to you, like they're psychic parasites, energetic parasites, and they can dig in and make you continue your negative behavior, and then start manifesting and like becoming more and more materialized, and then until it's complete, like possession at some certain points. Like through drugs and alcohol, I've been possessed with blind rage and violence and just archaic low frequency behavior, and it's like, and it rides this thin line of because I'm a warrior spirit and like a super juiced up energetic being already, and so when I be drinking and like get to play the right music, and then a parasite of energy would be there telling me like scratching the surface of my ego and telling me somebody wants war and what are they looking at, what's going on, and then like before you know it, that entity is communicating with another entity that's attached to another warrior like me, and then it's just it finds a way to like magnetize to each other because it wants to spread. This energy spreads, and like ultimately it's just like these entities, the higher the intensity of like whatever outcome, this like rage, battle, fear, explosion of violence, like it's just like them eating the most delicious energetic pizza, and it's costing your energy field and your spirit.
Yeah, I've noticed with warrior type guys like you, ego, like when you're kind of compromised by like, if you're swerving or whatever, and you have even just a little bit of ego, like that's their pepperoni on top of the pizza for real. Like they love dudes that have a little bit of ego that they can mess with, and then they just establish those roots like weeds.
Well, it's a super like it's a very, and I like, it's a constant navigation of ego energy, especially when you come from like a traumatic background like I do. It's like you build a powerful ego to battle the demons, like, and I built a monster to fight the monsters, honestly, and then the monster gets away from you after like Frankenstein shit, and then the monster is more in control because now the entity, your ego, has now opened up all these doorways for entities to now take full control, and then you're like, I mean, we've seen it, a million times with how dark humans can get, and the ego's there, and I think the ego is a healthy part of this third dimension, and but it's more of like a piece of exercise equipment that you might start with the power press, trying to get really strong with it, but that after a while you need to learn mobility and fluidity with it, so now it's like as I advance in years, the triggers that my ego once had are way more quiet because I've worked on them, and because you can see outcomes. What are these battles over? What are these? I mean, even if it's with a girl or if it's with the person at the register. Like, what are these battles worth? And like, when I was compromised, like all battles were worth it all,
All the
and it's
time.
like
I
you
mean
and
it
you
all
and
the
you and you
time.
and you're super volatile. So it's like, and that I think is what's the problem with humanity, is that everyone is super hyper stressed. No one's doing the protocols to keep these entity energies off them. That their health is compromised, their energy field's compromised, and so you're basically just if you look at it from like not from this light spectrum. If you look from like this energy spectrum, like we are all compromised. So many of us are compromised, and then we're running into each other, and these entities are building steam. So that's why we gotta check our egos, and we gotta do healthy practices to get back to our divine center. Otherwise, that infestation just spreads like wildfire, and then you just see more and more chaos throughout the world.
Totally. I think you're sharing with me a lot of your journey with sobriety, like, has a huge impact on that. Huge. Even if you're just like, you consider yourself like the casual drinker on, like, during family gatherings or, parties or whatever, like, all it takes is one night of just poor decisions, especially when it comes to chemical substances, and you can, like, seriously get compromised and or affect other people too. Usually it's how that goes.
Oh yeah, I mean, like just a couple glasses of wine, and yeah, you're the life of the party, and everything's cool. But you take something wrong, and then you say something you regret, or maybe you do something inappropriate because your fucking hormones are out of balance, and the entities are in your ear, and you got liquor in you, and like all these things that like not only do they create like really compromised situations, but then like post toxification, like you have shame, and shame is also just
That's
a
another one. That's
horrible.
another, yep, byproduct. Yep.
Yeah, and like and everyone is like exploiting shame on social media now, and also completely fearful of shame. So like shame is like a very powerful entity right now, and so the more dialed in you are, the more authentic and divinely centered. Like you're gonna miss all that shameful, energetic nonsense, and you probably will have way less hairy situations.
Yeah, it's actually really, really simple to start. First recognizing that you have negative entities in your life. Identification is the first line of defense. Like, you gotta call it out. You gotta call it what it is. Seriously. Um, and the more you kind of like cover it up or deny it or whatever, it's still feeding those same entities, because denial is definitely one of those huge other symptoms that negative entities love to feed on, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Uncertainty, self-doubt, negative self-talk, those are all huge other symptoms as well. But the best way that I've been noticing a lot of the younger people do, and a lot of people in Generation X, I don't know why the people in the middle are kind of like limited to practicing these methods, but definitely getting out into nature and understanding what you're in nature for. So it's not just to take like the glamorous hike that you're going to socially influence film the whole time and not pay attention to the birds or the trees or animals or even other people that you might encounter on the hike. But so long as you look good on your selfie stick for your followers, because you're a vlogger, then that's all that matters to them. But the real truth of the matter is, when you're getting out inside nature, or if you're limited and you can't get to a hike or a beach or a mountain, you can just step outside, just outside from under a roof. And the elementals, so the wind, water, if you live in a place that's like humid, or if it's raining outside, those are like the best elementals that can help you clear your own energy field just by sitting outside.
Yeah. I mean, it's the simple practices that we have to do consciously. That's the thing, and I think you touched on that that's exactly what we need. Is there's a conscious way of going outside, and then there's like, I'm gonna go for a hike because I know I need to get some exercise and get outside, but I'm gonna be talking about business the whole fucking time, and like, and believe me, all of these things I have done. So the more centered you are, the conscious you are, like, okay, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go for a hike, and I'm gonna leave my phone in the car, and I'm gonna go out there, and then and on my hike, pick 2-3 spots where you sit, and you don't have to get into deep meditation, but you have to sit and quiet your mind, because if you negative entities are a dime a dozen now, and so if you just check in on your inner dialogue. I was actually helping someone with their health today, and they were doing great not too long ago, and now they're in a real dark spot, and booze is back in the building, and eating sugar and gluten and all these things, like everything is off the chain again. And I'm just like, okay, well, you got to go back to basics. We got to clear your head. This person had a hurt back, and so they're not going on the walks. I'm like, but like you still can walk. So get outside, quiet your mind, and do the things you need to do. Stop the sugar, no drinking, no gluten. Do these little protocols, and start with this afternoon I'm going to start, and then this evening I'm going to plan to not eat any garbage, and then wake up the next day and just start stacking this good energy. Go back outside, get some fresh air, no devices. It's like everything is like an exercise, regiment. Even spiritual work. You have to get in the door of the gym before you can exercise, and a lot of times it's just making that move of like, okay, let me go outside. All right, let me put my phone down. All right, I'm not going to reach for the cookies. These are real simple things, but on the spiritual level, they mean a boatload to your spirit and your cells.
Yeah, the going outside and being present, just present. You don't even have to worry about what does being centered means. Like just being present. And a lot of being present means getting away from devices, and that's the biggest problem because people are wearing them on their wrists, right above their heart pulse, which is creepy. But like we're stuck with our phones. Like a lot of people have grown so dependent on them. There are whole generations that were born and raised with them that it's hard to be like, hey, put that down, or hey, turn off the mobile signal. If you're going to go on a walk and you don't feel comfortable leaving your phone, in case of emergency, turn the signal off, or at least put yourself on DND. You don't need a notification that your favorite streamer just went live and you're going to be in the woods and watching your streamer. Like, that's not how this works. And you can see a lot of it too. Right now is summer and full moon in Capricorn, and a lot of families are still celebrating summer by going on campouts and things like that. And the amount of people that have to bring some kind of device as entertainment for camping is really sad. Like,
dude, I know. It's creepy. I like there's back in our day it was like technology was a ghetto blaster, like you had to bring a yeah, exactly. And then you just bust out like the drums and like the guitar, the acoustic guitar, and people were jamming, and those were the most high grade. Yeah, the high grade energy exchange, and then it would be like sit by the fire and just stare at the stars, and the amount of cosmic downloads you get are so much more healthy than like just the cool new posts that somebody did, or just I know people are getting a gang of knowledge, because that's what I do. I consume a lot of knowledge on social media, and it's a lot of healthy knowledge. But I even have to stop myself because I'm like, I think I'm really just, knowledging out over here. I'm just stuffing my brain full of knowledge, like nonstop. And it's like even this morning, I I was like, I'm going to play, yet another podcast like this, get stuff more information in there. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play some old school soul and just watch my dogs play in the yard and do the dishes. And it was a whole nother vibration. I was like, okay, I don't need to learn anything or reiterate any spirit tools right now. I just need to get back to center.
Yeah, if we think about entities being on a frequency, right? Because they are an energy, so all energies exist on a plane of some kind of frequency and vibration. If we think about entities on a 5G frequency, that's all over our planet. When you turn that off, your body's experiencing what it's like to not have entities blasted at you for that time that you're offline. And so many people don't know what that feels like that it even gives them panic attacks because they just
Yeah.
can't be present. They just can't be present unless they have their phone on, or at least they have like their smart watch on, or like something like that. It's really sad. It's really
Dude,
scary.
I've lost my phone before and been like driving around and been like, oh my God, like, why do I feel so naked and alone? And I'm like, this is not good. That I've,
When you
yeah,
go into the parts of nature, which I hope everybody gets inspired to do with our cast today, it's like when you go into a place that has no signal, it's so funny and easy how you forget that you needed a signal in the first place.
yeah,
Like maybe
I know.
15 minutes into your walk, after you've whatever texted your last friend or whatever, like, hey, I'm gonna go into the woods now, I'm not gonna have a signal, so whatever. And then next thing you know, you're on a hike for like 4 hours. And then when you get back to reality and you're back in your car in the parking lot, you turn your Wi-Fi back on, or you get a signal again, and it's like ding 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 ding, all these notifications, like boom boom boom
Yeah,
boom boom boom, and emails and texts and like likes and follows and
yeah,
DMs. It's crazy.
yeah. That's why, like, I do believe in the social media and phone, celibacy. Like, turning that thing off and detox from that stuff. I've got to do a pretty big one soon because I do a lot of social media work, but you have to find time to completely remove yourself from it because it's just there's so much energy being exchanged and not all of it's good. Even if my algorithm's pretty darn healthy at this point, but I still like watching combat sports, and then you throw a little couple knockouts in there, and now I got violence throughout my whole algorithm, and I'm still a beast sometimes. I'm like, oh, more violence. Hey, but it's all a work in progress. This is I'm no guru. I'm just a man who's made it this far through some crazy wars and entity infestations, and so I know how tough it can be to navigate through all that stuff. So just the basics, like getting outside, is so huge, and turning the devices off, huge, literally like a spirit soul saver at this point in our evolution.
The A lot of people might be listening and they'll be like, well, how do I know if I have negative entities? Like, what are my symptoms and signs? And when people used to ask me that, I used to say, when you catch yourself doing behaviors that you know are not inherently you. Like, for example, I had a friend who asked me that question, and they were chronically addicted to Call of Duty in the most unhealthy way. And it was like, not even during the pandemic. It was just like, yeah, my team and this and that. I don't speak COD, so I don't know what they was talking about. I've seen what it's like. Um,
Yeah.
very, very not cutesy. It's very gory. It's very, especially for the times that we live in right now, like I think it's a little too realistic. And for somebody to be playing, quote unquote, playing that game of killing and murdering and all that kind of stuff from an energy work point of view, it's like not good. Um,
Yeah.
to do that for more than 3 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours on a live stream for 10 hours, it's too much. And so if you're falling into really long hours of negative behavior, like gaming too much, or you're drinking by yourself too much, or you're laying in bed and not doing anything or wanting to do anything, or feeling heaviness that you know you don't usually have, that could be a really big sign that you have the thing that's causing it could be a negative entity.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I always check like my internal dialogue and my trigger sensor. Like if I get a real trigger happy, if like things just start really, I get real sensitive about, egoically sensitive, or and I'm like, and I'm talking shit to myself, or about humans in my head, because I really am have changed. Like there was a point in my life, like in my 20s and 30s, where it was an absolute Vietnam vet, type of psychology. Like it was like kill or be killed nonstop in my head, and it was just like fantasizing about these super dark things, and I was, and it was attracting violence my way, and that violence would build, and another violent altercation would lead to another one, and then out in the streets when you're dealing with violence all the time, then you got to watch your back all the time. It's like this stuff is toxic as fuck to the whole.
Especially when like the socioeconomics of the community is also kind of like compromised too. Because I grew up in the Mission in San Francisco,
Yeah.
and we're all immigrants. Like we're all first generation kids. Our parents are immigrants working their butts off, um, not earning a very high wage. And then you've got these other kids that have like the fancier things, especially back to school. That was like such a rough time for a lot of people, more than Christmas, because it's like everybody would show up on the first day of school with like new clothes, new shoes, and everything like that. And then the entities of like envy and
Envy,
shame and uh,
scarcity.
sadness, yeah, lack. Like
Yeah.
those are symptoms of negative entities, and they love to feed on that, especially in children, unfortunately. And
Oh,
children are born with the highest frequency ever, and it's just as they grow older and life happens, the frequency gets lower and lower and lower until they reach an age where they can find their frequency again. Find their own way to ascend back into a higher frequency, and that's why we call it ascension. Um,
yeah.
but like just knowing that that season is coming up, and the world is really uncertain right now and super chaotic. There's an even bigger wave of fear frequency that's kind of going all over the globe right now. And like small things like that, like back to school or end of summer, can trigger a lot of like already like not very healthy self-hurting thoughts and behaviors that can leave people open and vulnerable to these entities, negative entities.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, the whole cycle of American culture, like the summer is fun, but it's filled with booze and and no clothes, and so it's like so it gets weird, and then you got then the children go back in August, and all the pop culture is being pumped through social media and TV and movies, and like everyone wants to be as cool as possible. But I'll tell you this, the cool could be you're watching the most infested, entity-ridden person at your school or on TV, and your entity is telling you that supreme infestation is cool. And then if you were to take some time and, unplug and detox for a second and touch the earth with your bare feet and get some sun on your face and listen to the ocean, you go, oh, you know what? Maybe that's not that cool. Maybe there's a better way. And you're just being aware of the inner dialogue. For me, that's my main thing, is like, what are the voices saying? And I prefer just one voice. and I like to have complete centered control of it, and I can tell when it's getting out of line. It'll just start ranting in my head. So then I'm like, okay, I need to go detox from something, change my attitude. But a lot of times that energy, like I'll pick that up throughout the day somehow, and I'm like, before you know it, I'm in it, and I'm like, so it's like you just be hyper aware.
There's a really great movement growing here up in the Bay, especially in the East Bay right now, where a lot of young men are like taking hikes, like doing community group hikes, which I think is awesome. There's a lot of artists that are like doing concerts from their backyards versus like, booking a big, huge venue and showing out with like a big old fat heavy chain and like a grill that's like $20 million. It's more just like, hey, we're just gonna sing some songs, and if you want to dance, you can dance, and if you want to come up on stage and you know a verse, you can say that too, because it's just a vibe. Like we're just all chilling.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and it seems like they're understanding like the first thing if they're feeling like I feel like I have some negative entities up on me or they're knocking on my field, remove yourself from your environment first. Like just get out of it. Like just
yeah.
get out of your head. Sometimes you have to get out of your space, and the easiest way to get out of your space is to go outside. Fresh air.
Yeah, it sounds like simple, and it is simple for the most part for most people. Uh, it's like the easiest practice. Go outside, breathe, and if you can touch your bare feet onto the ground and get some sun on your face, and take some deep breaths, that literally is life enhancing on every level.
Clubbing in your 20s and it's like super hot and the music's been blasting in your ears and you just caught some dude checking out your chick and like your friends that are like came with you to the club are like, oh no, Ryan's mad. As soon as you get that breath of fresh air, if you just step outside, usually it's for people to smoke, but like I remember just taking like social breaks, going outside and then feeling that breath of fresh air out of being from that heat and that dark and that just super overwhelming kind of energy. It makes
Yeah.
such a big difference and it resets you enough so that you can go back in.
Yeah, I mean that's a good analogy too. It's like your your body can be like that club, just with frequencies and entities. If you're not dialed right, you want your energy field like a Japanese garden. And but but most of us have fucking city nights, city lights, parties going on, and there's just entities, demons, and everybody's rocking out and kicking the walls down inside your energy field. And so to calm all of that, you gotta get back to mama and touch the earth and breathe the air. Getting near water, and if you can get in the ocean, like that is like the ultimate detox of the electrical currents.
Yeah, because you have everything. You've got the sand crystals at your feet. You've got the water literally rolling in. You've got the wind with the salt in your face, carrying the crystals even further. And then the fire is actually your breath. Your chi is the fire. Because a lot of people will
Yeah.
hear that and be like, you mean you have a bonfire? No, no, you are the fire.
You are the fire. You are the fire.
To be earthed, to be anchored to the ground so that you're not like fire NATO going. But there are other options to help you remove some of the entities that you might be experiencing in your life. And from an energy work point of view, the biggest go-to is cleansing and smudging. And I know a lot of people will be like, oh, smudging is, it's cultural appropriation. And to be honest, it just depends on how you're coming correct with it. If you're acknowledging the herbs that you are using to smudge with, such as right here in NorCal, we use white sage a lot. We use mugwort a lot because it's native here. And it's like, if you're coming with it in a good way and you're not over harvesting, or you're purchasing it from a reliable person who harvests it from their own property, like to me, that's coming in a good, correct way. And you can go ahead and use it. Smudging is when you light a dried plant, medicine, leaf, or bark, and you use the smoke to like move around into your energy field throughout your chakras and clear any lower frequency, lower vibration energies from it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I love smudging. I mean, even incense, are super powerful. There's something about, this. I mean, the smoke is, and the sense of, smell. You got elementals going on right there, and energy of, matter turning into a different form, and the sense, and it's changing the whole energy of the room. If you notice, if you do an energy check on your room, pre smudge and then after, like, it's like palpable. You could tell the difference, and if you're that's a blockage if you think it's corny or like, racial appropriation. It's all about authenticity. If you really want to put your energy into clearing your house, put your energy into it. Burn that sage, burn an incense, and put your intention. You're an energetic being. Smudge your area. Like, there's all this empty space in these rooms, but it's still filled with energy. And we live in these boxed out, matrices. We should be living in more circular dwellings, but so it's good to clear this energy out. It gets all stagnated and caught in these corners all the time. So it's good to move the energy around, open up the windows, get the fans going, and smudge that area, smudge that whole place, and put your good intentions. Like, I get all juiced up and hyped, and like, my smudges are amplified. I'm like high energy and gratitude are just the most powerful medicine.
Yeah, the opposite to that is cleansing with water spray, which is another really great way to clear. A lot of my tias were Mexican growing up, and so cleaning day was like a religious experience that like you
I love
had
cleaning day.
to cleaning day when you smell the pine sol or the lemon of whatever lemon products they're cleaning with, like it automatically changes your energy. And as you're shifting like all these, doing all your chores and stuff, you got music going, you're dancing while you're mopping. But sorry, going back to cleansing with water, you can use agua de Florida or charged water that is like tonight is a full moon. I'm going to be charging like 6 gallons of water to not only drink with, but then also use in my sprays. And you can just take a simple spray bottle. Glass is preferable, a glass spray bottle, but if you don't have that, a plastic one is okay too. But you want to take 1 part water. I'm sorry, let's see, 1 cup of water, and then do like 2 or 3 drops of your favorite essential oil. Make sure that these are essential oils that are safe for animals if you have animals around, obviously. But my favorite go-tos are citrus that are really good for clearing, and mint. So anything minty or anything citrus or a combination of those two, like they really help to not only clear the space energetically and get those corners, whether you smudge or do spray, like you got to get the corners above and below and doors. Um, it just changes the energy so much. And then also too, if you feel the misting of the spraying, if you can't get access to the ocean, at least you have that contact with water yourself that's outside of a shower, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, I'm bringing the water element into the space that was really stagnant, really dry, kind of maybe not the most comfortable. And next thing you know, you're like, it feels better.
Yeah, and just like Cedar's saying, if you just by making this little spray is an act of intention of clearing a space, and you can even you can activate the water with words of prayer, and that whole thing is a ceremony. So that energy, that little cleansing energy ceremony is so powerful, and it just reminded me of just how horrific some of the environments were back in our day as kids. I mean, everyone was smoking cigarettes indoors, reading papers about nuclear war, microwaving shitty food, and beating kids, and it wasn't always like that at our house, but like it was, a lot of the houses were like that. And it's like the reason why there was so much death and destruction, coming out of that is because all of the energy was built up in that toxic form. And so now we have the wisdom, like these ancient practices are proven for centuries. And so like these little ceremonies, we're getting back to them. I think everybody's being called to it. Let's lose the those little aromatic poison things you stick in the little candle. Yeah, the little plugins. Get rid of those. Go. Take yourself to the store to get essential oils. Do the spray ceremony. Burn some sage. Believe me, you will feel amazing.
Yeah. Take it one step further. Buy yourself a cute little rosemary plant at they sell them at Trader Joe's for $3. They have them at Home Depot for $4 if you want to get fancy, but the Trader Joe's ones are healthier. I'm just saying. I mean, you could grow that. They grow real fast. They're pretty low maintenance. They just need like a little bit of light, and you have medicine plant in your house. You can dry the rosemary and use it as rubs for your food. You can break off sprigs and dip it in some cold water and move the kind of like thrash the branch around. That's already blessing and clearing your space too. If you don't want to do the spray or the smudge, it's a combination of plant and water. Another old ancient tradition was to hang rosemary sprigs in your shower from your shower head or in your sauna while you sweat, so long as it doesn't touch your skin, because that can be kind of gross. But just saying, like the smell of the essential oil of rosemary clearing is an activator. It's also a clearer and protection. So it's really cool.
I love rosemary. I got three bushes in front of my house, and I'll just rub it on my hands. Deep smell, and like just these little tiny gestures. Like I've done them throughout my whole life. I did them mainly when I was a kid, and then I lost it for a minute. When it was just all about being lost. And then now I've reintegrated it, and like it's a whole nother level of it, appreciation for the plant medicines.
And there's you'll never know who's watching you too when you're doing this, and when you're unknowingly like leading by energetic example. Like a lot of times people will see me bust out with my little mini spray bottle and like spray my airline seat before I sit down, and it's not anything like germophobic. It's just like, I don't know who was in there before for hours and hours. Like, I just want to do a quick clearing. And the next thing you know, there's like a conversation going, oh, that smells really nice. What is that? And I'm like, it's mint and lemon. And it's like, they're sitting next to me and they're smelling this. And I know that person was carrying entities, but now those entities are less strong because this person is enjoying the smell of mint and lemon on this flight next to me.
Cedar's like the medicine Batgirl. She's got all kinds of gadgets and spirit devices, and she stays on point because she knows out there that it gets hairy out there, and especially living in the city. There's just so much electricity, Wi-Fi, and and just human energetics and non-human energetics that you have to stay guarded up, and your shield's got to be up.
The dopest thing ever is like when you're at a conference of techies or whatever, and then you go outside and you go to like where people usually smoke, and there's like 2 or 3 people that are burning Palo Santo instead of smoking a cigarette.
Hey man, there's hope. There's hope.
There is definitely hope.
I love that. Yeah, I mean,
they understand. Like they're like, okay, yeah, we're in tech, but it's like Wi-Fi times millions and everyone's devices times 3 at these conventions and conferences. And so it's like, yeah, sometimes you really do need to clear like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of blockages with like, that's woo woo, that's hippie, or that's racial appropriation. Look, these are proven, authentic practices, and we got to cut through the bullshit. We got to just do the things that work. These little gestures are life changers and energetic changers, and like ultimately, like these little moves can increase, like your positive karma. One of these faulty parasite, entities can have you walk into the road at the wrong time, you know, or meet the wrong person, you know, like these. This is a spiritual chess, and so you want to have you want to do your best moves, keep you know, and clear your space. And the more like dialed in, grounded you are, like, and I was out there acting crazy, so I got crazy, you know, like the crazy came back to me, and now I just start with little simple gestures, getting like some sun on my. Me and my son today went out and I grounded. I don't have a whole lot of lands, but I went out and underneath a pine tree, grounded with him, bare feet. You know, he was a little fussy in the beginning, but then we touched the ground and we were just detoxed. And then we had a great morning. We listened to you know 90s R&B, dancing, and so that's good medicine too. You know, moving the energy.
Yeah, frequency and vibration of the music that you listen to is very, very, very big impact, especially when you're entity compromised, for sure. I like metal. I like I like folk metal now, but I used to be really into thrash. But I never really got into death metal too much. And especially because I'm pagan, I've been pagan since I was 14, but there are definitely lines that I never wanted to cross when it came to metal. But I just like the faster tempo, intense, instrumental
Yeah.
everything's. But I noticed when I try to listen to some of the older, harder, like Exodus stuff that and Slayer stuff that I used to listen to, it just doesn't hit for me anymore. I'm more like I love the Hu, from
Yeah, yeah.
Mongolia. I love them the most
Oh,
right
nice.
now.
Yeah, yeah. Those guys are dope. Uh, yeah, and like I went through my whole, you know, I like some metal stuff, but you know, back when I really liked it, I was playing football. It activated an anarchist, violent side of me, and it was at the time of my journey, it was awesome, and I can still appreciate.
We had really good metal back then though too, and grunge. Like we
Oh yeah, yeah. We had good metal,
we had
and
really good grunge too, like Alice in Chains, and yeah, it was still really good back then.
yeah, but yeah. So like, just get your frequencies right, get your energy field right. That's what that way you can dodge these entities and recognize them when they come around.
Yeah, there are other everyday things that we can do for ourselves as well as just doing like the small little daily protocol of smudging and or using cleansing spray. You can also do hot yoga. That's another way that you can release a lot of these entities. Yoga is good to relax, but hot yoga, that's unlocking some serious like parts of your energy field. And then the steam and the sweat of you literally releasing those energies from your pores. Like that is definitely big.
Oh yeah, that's powerful, powerful medicine. Yeah, sweating, doing sweats like traditional native sweats. You know, it pushes you, that and hot yoga push you to that point where you want to give up, and and that's a very spiritual point. And to push through that, and then like then you dig, you find out what's really going on right when you get to that level, when you're ready to run out of a sweat or a yoga room. You test your resolve and where your spirit's at, and if you're doing that, entities are flying off you too. And so like you're getting down to that divine center we're talking about, and then once you complete that sweat or you complete that yoga, you walk out of that place feeling the most blissfully high.
Yeah, the I've completed my first full all the rounds, not tapping out once, sweat last fall. And I'm telling you, bro, like when I tell you that I connected with that earth just when it got so bad, I also forgot to bring a towel. So I was like, no. And the heat is just like all over you and just overwhelming. And you're like, can I breathe? I think I'm breathing, but I can't feel my lungs. So I don't know if I'm really breathing. It's real intense, but that's where the power of also like your indigenous medicine, your ancestor medicine really, really kicks in. Luckily, we both have a friend that does sweats that are like more on the super hot, but in shorter periods of time. Whereas when I was growing up, it was the elder way, which is like super long, not too hot.
Oh, dude, yeah, I've been in some brutal sweats with just these high-powered natives just trying to destroy you.
Yeah, like literally, they're like,
And
yeah, it's not that's interesting that you brought that up because there are a lot of unfortunately not so native sweat lodges that are going on right now, and it's more about ego and how long people can stay in versus what's the whole point. If no one's singing like their real ancestor songs, and like not uh, honoring and respecting and coming in a good way, the protocols and the prayers that are associated with like that are in our traditional sweat lodges, like it's gonna feel weird. It's almost as if you're you're taking in entities versus sweating them out.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the like, just you're releasing a lot, and I would just say like kind of go back to the protocols of making sure you're centered, making vetting out everywhere you go that to do spiritual practice, but all in the long run, like it's funny because I have this conversation with natives a lot about like do you ever go to non-native sweats? And I've been to all kinds of different sweats, native and non-native. But there's usually some native element, like we and it's they're very different, but there's also like a gesture in the fact that the people are trying, and that they are actually and all the ones that I've been to, everyone's trying their hardest. They're faking it till you make it, or they're just really authentically understanding how powerful these ceremonies are, and they're doing it. And anyone who's down to sweat is on the right track.
If they know and they come with a good heart of like, hey, there's like, I'm going through something that I feel like can only be released in this sweat, and they try at least to discern a little bit, who's facilitating it, who's involved, who's going to be there, where's the land that this inipi is going to be on, if there's even an inipi to begin with. Like those are real important questions if you're considering
Yeah,
going to a sweat lodge. Like know its history and how long it's been going and who does it and where.
yeah, yeah. Because you don't want to get hijacked even more if you're already
Okay.
compromised.
Yes. I've seen people who have been hijacked after ceremony, and it's the most devastating thing because they really weren't asking for it, but someone's ego got in the way, usually the facilitators, and it's just like, man, that's so wrong. Like, that's just wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I've done ceremony and didn't integrate properly and just went back to just acting a fool, and I was still way too open, and I got just demon attacked, pretty heavy, pretty heavy duty, and like it really made me like check myself on I just kind of those dudes is like I'll do whatever I want, you know, it'll be fine, and then like man, there are levels to this multi-dimensional existence that are just it's so intensely mind blowing and painfully earth shattering your own inner earth like that I've experienced, and it didn't have to be, and it was because I was going in compromised and cocky, and but I don't know, that's just my spirit. I kind of want to see how far I could push things, and but spirit will always make you tap eternally. Yeah, you're always going to be
Literally.
tapping.
Yeah, literally tap. Um,
You're going to be tapping.
this also includes sweating through sauna as well. You can definitely do entity clearing removals on yourself by going to sauna, particularly especially if you're going to do a hot cold where you could do sauna and then a cold plunge. Like that seems to be kind of like the better way to do it. But even just sitting in your gym sauna for like, I don't know, I don't do sauna, so like how long do you sit in a sauna for?
Well, I mean, like the the real healthy point is 20 minutes, but that's on the more advanced side, I think, intermediate advanced. But yeah, try and get a 10 piece in, but any little bit helps.
Yeah. Or if you don't want to go and do hot yoga and you don't feel comfortable doing sauna in, a public place, just take a really hot, steamy shower. Like, gift yourself that. It's good for your achy muscles. You will relax like you've never relaxed before. Same thing goes with like a hot bath. You can draw yourself a warm bath. But the heat is the big component here because it's all the elements again. You've got your fire, water, air, and earth. The earth is you in that case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you coming back to earth is literally coming back to yourself.
Yeah. So on this full moon, just be aware and implement some healthy clearing protocols, and let's just keep the entities at bay. It'll make for a better world.
And just do a little bit every day. You don't have to go super hog and do a full on regimen like starting tomorrow. Just small little steps, and they can lead to a
Yeah, baby
really
steps.
very big.
Crawl before you walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't need you to sprint like right now. Like just
Mm,
small steps with the clearings especially, and you won't regret like how your small little habits really develop and show up big in the biggest times when everyone else might be falling apart, but you've got your protocols and you've got your routine. It'll be like, nah, I'm good, I'll be good, because like I know I can go home and I'll clear and I'll be fine.
That's right. Well, everybody out there watching Quantumsanity, we thank you once again. This is episode number 2. And keep the entities at bay. Keep your energy high. Stay authentic. And happy full moon. We'll see you guys next time.
Happy full moon, everyone. See you next time.
Peace.